Welcome to Report, which made headlines last week. A coalition of 9 civil society organizations, CSOs, on Monday accused the Deputy Senate President Ovie Omoh-Agege of perjury and demanded that he resigns his position in the Senate. The coalition alleged that the Deputy Senate President was convicted in the United States of America, USA, by the State Bar Court of the State of California, Los Angeles, in 1996. The convener of Coalition of Civil Society and Youth Groups in Nigeria and National Coordinator, Empowerment for Unemployed Youth Initiative, Solomon Adodo, at a news conference in Abuja, faulted Omoh-Agege, a senator representing Delta Central Senatorial District, for allegedly refusing to notify the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the Nigerian Senate of his conviction in the USA, while insisting that such willful silence contravenes the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution and rules of the Senate. The group, which also called for fresh prosecution against Omoh-Agege, threatened to stage a protest at the National Assembly if he fails to resign and the Delta Central Senatorial District seat declared vacant within the next 72 hours. The group, which made reference to the snatching of the legislative maze by thugs under Omoh-Agege's instruction in the 8th Assembly, raised concerns that Omoh-Agege's emergence as Deputy President of the Senate was a mockery of the 9th Assembly. The Supreme Court on Tuesday sacked Governor Emeka Ihedioha of Imo State and declared Senator Hope Uzodinma as governor. The 7-member panel of justices held that Emeka Ihedioha was not duly elected governor. Uzodinma had challenged the decision of the Court of Appeal, which upheld the election of Ihedioha. The Court of Appeal in Abuja in November 2019 dismissed 3 appeals challenging the election of Ihedioha. A 5-member panel of justices, presided by Justice Oyebisi Omoyele, dismissed the appeals by the Action Alliance AA candidate Uche Nwosu, All Progressives Congress APC candidate Hope Uzodinma, and the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA Ifeanyi Ararume, challenging the election of Ihedioha. While the appeal by the AA and APGA were dismissed by unanimous judgment, that of APC was divided by a 1-4 split judgment. The appellant had, in their appeal against the judgment of the Imo State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal in Owerri, contended that the election was marred by corrupt practices, non-compliance with electoral laws, and failure to secure the majority of lawful votes cast. But the appellate court upheld the findings and conclusions of the tribunal in the March 9 election, where Ihedioha polled 273,404 votes to emerge victorious. The panel fined Ararume, Uzodinma, and Nwosu 500,000 naira each. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had declared Ihedioha winner of the Guba poll in Imo as he polled 273,404 votes to defeat the candidate of the Action Alliance AA, Uche Nwosu, who got 190,364 votes, leaving a difference of 83,040 votes. The candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA, Senator Ifeanyi Ararume, got 114,676 votes, followed by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Senator Hope Uzodinma, who polled 96,458 votes. President Muhammadu Buhari honored Nigeria's fallen heroes on Wednesday at the 2020 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. January 15 is set aside annually to honor members of the military who fought and are still fighting in various theaters of conflict within Nigeria and across the world. The day also celebrated the living among the armed forces who have suffered some form of deprivation owing to their experiences while on the battlefront. It also marks the surrender of Biafra troops to the federal troops, which signaled the end of the Nigerian Civil War that lasted from 1967 to 1970. Officials of the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Nigerian Legion converged on different centers across the nation to celebrate the day with parades. In the nation's capital, Abuja, President Buhari, service chiefs, the leadership of the National Assembly, the judiciary, and members of the diplomatic corps pay their respects to the heroes at the Remembrance Arcade in Abuja. On Thursday, President Muhammadu Buhari sent the name of Dr. Kingsley Obiora to the Senate for confirmation as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. In a letter to the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, President Buhari said the nomination was in accordance with the provisions of Section 8, subsection 1-2 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Establishment Act 2007. Dr. Obiora, upon confirmation by the Senate, replaces Dr. Joseph Nnanna, who retires on the 2nd of February 2020. Dr. Obiora holds a bachelor's degree in economics and statistics from the University of Benin, a master's in economics from the University of Ibadan, and a doctorate in monetary and international economics, also from the University of Ibadan. He is currently an alternate executive director in the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in Washington, D.C., United States of America. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday met at a closed-door meeting with the heads of the nation's security agencies at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The meeting came ahead of the takeoff time of the President's scheduled visit to London to participate in the inaugural UK African Investment Summit. The summit itself opens on Monday, January 20. Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the President, Femi Adesina, in a statement on Thursday said that President Buhari is expected back in Nigeria on Thursday this week. Addressing State House correspondents after the meeting, Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said the chiefs specifically briefed the President on what their services were doing to ensure that the security of Nigerians was not compromised. Air Marshal Abubakar said the meeting also looked at the emerging situations, including the menace of banditry in some northwestern states as well as other parts of the country, saying the Nigerian Air Force was already assembling some of the fighter aircraft recently procured by the federal government to prosecute the onslaught against Boko Haram activities in the northeast of the country. Air Marshal Abubakar appealed to Nigerians and other stakeholders to join hands with the armed forces of Nigeria and other security and intelligence agencies to ensure that the country was secured rather than looking at other methods that are likely going to negate the national policy and community policing policy that the federal government has approved.